on This Week in NASCAR.
Mark Martin wins the Southern 500 at Darlington.
And the gang's all here. NASCAR speeds on home.
It's all out. $1 million dangling in front of these drivers.
All-star race, there was a lot of energy and excitement.
We're going to see hammer down, full throttle racing, no holds barred, white knuckle action.
Race as hard as you can. You don't worry about points. You don't worry about anything.
All-Star Week kicks off now.
This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico.
And that sound you hear is a studio audience. It's new here This Week in NASCAR, part of our All-Star Week coverage. In case you haven't heard, the All-Star race is on speed this weekend. Hey, everybody, glad you're with us on Monday night. A full panel, a full house today, led by Chad Knaus, Greg Biffle, and Ricky Bobby. I mean, Michael Waltrip.
Yeah.
Let a little picture behind you.
I caught on fire.
You did.
My car blew up in a major way, and there was a lot of fire. And I talked to y'all last week about my Adaptive One brake pads.
Look at it right over your shoulder.
No matter how much pressure, just
Did that scare you?
Smooth stop on the pads. It was scary because of the unknown, Greg. You know, when all the flames went up, I didn't get burnt. But then at this point, when they didn't go away, and then it started burning things in my car.
I saw it about right there.
There was a lot of stuff going on in my brain, and the main thing I was thinking was go somewhere where I could get out. And the cool thing is, if you remember in 07, I think, in California, I caught on fire there too.
I remember that one.
I couldn't get out of my car. I was stuck in there. Thank you, NASCAR. Thank you for this new car. Tall guys like me can race on. Guys my size that are 17, 18 years old, they can be a NASCAR driver now, because when it came to a stop, I just hopped out.
You can't when you're 17. You can't when you're 18.
Well, you can be prepared to be one. But real happy to escape that mess for sure.
Well, we're glad you're okay. Greg, all three of you guys had eventful nights. Greg took a turn out front, didn't end up the way you wanted, but you still got a good finish.
Yeah, we really did. You know, the 3M car ran really good all night, and unfortunately, I don't know what happened yet. Still, Chad and I were talking about it.
I'll tell you. You want to? I saw it.
Here he comes. Here he comes. He's going to get you here in a second. Yeah, the car just took off and spun around, and it was unfortunate. We had a really good run going and a good night, and still had a good night. Finished 8th.
But tell people at home, you're leading the race. You're passing people left and right. That's how you have to drive.
Yeah.
You drive right on the edge. You know, you're driving your car. You're a guy that was just leading the race, and all of a sudden you spin out, and you're thinking, holy cow.
Yeah.
How could that happen? And it can happen that easily because that's how tough this thing is, how hard it is.
It is really hard, and my car was never loose there, and you know, I didn't understand why it took off, and it took off like it had a flat tire. You know, just no grip, and never did come back, and when it went away, it felt like, you know, there's nothing there. So unfortunate.
Chad Knaus is a liar. He is a liar.
You called him out right here on Speed.
I go to talk to him Saturday afternoon in the garage. I said, Chad, are you going to do anything, any strategy to get track position? Steve, if we do it too quick and the car's not handling right, I'm in a mess. Lap 20. I've already gone on Fox Sports, national television. No, don't expect anything radical from Chad Knaus.
National TV, Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace, everything's national TV.
But I told you we weren't going to do anything dramatic until we knew that the car was handling well. And
lap 20 was handling.
It was handling pretty good right then. So,
but how do we even start to talk about your weekend? It was crazy.
Well, we crashed on Friday. Started dead last. Played some pit strategy early on, and
was that your strategy? Pit the wrong way?
That wasn't the strategy. That was a little help from Kevin Harvick there. But our strategy was to stay out early, and then you blew up, which caught us a lap down. We got our lap back, and then we raced some more, and then we played some more strategy at the end, and somehow or another we managed to come home second. You know, I don't understand how through all that chaos that we actually pulled that off.
I love the end of that race. That I was watching obviously on TV, and it was just intense. Watching Mark Martin making his move. He ran low, Jimmy ran high. They mixed it up a little bit. Did you think Jimmy could get him, or did you think Mark had the car?
We had a couple of shots that I think we could have gotten him. The second to last caution, I believe it was, we were making some serious hay right there, and we were up on him and thought if we could have gotten position on, we might have had a shot at it, but then the caution fell and we lost it at that point. You know, the car's changed a lot. As they cycled tires, your handling characteristic really changed on the car. So we didn't quite have enough right there, and then we opted, you know, hey, look, we were getting close to the end of the race. If the caution had come out and we had a green, white checker finish, we may not have had enough fuel. So we said, look, you know, we're having a hard time catching them. Let's cut our losses and come home second.
Well, it was a big night for Hendrick Motorsports. Even the teams
1 through 5 and 7th. I mean, you had 7 cars in the race basically, and 6 of them finished in the top.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 of them finished in the top 7. What a night!
I was just about to say that.
Oh, you were? You had all that?
I did. I wrote that all down.
Michael's on tonight. He's full of it. Well, see, he was able to actually watch the race.
Right. So. Hey, and you know, and watching the race, I found out I really like racing. I was so into those last 20 or 30 laps because I knew the personalities. I knew what Mark had, and I knew what he was all about, and I knew Jimmy was gonna. Mark looked like he was gonna just tie himself to the bottom and play off his chips down there, and Jimmy was all over the place trying to figure out. I love racing. It's fun.
How'd we do? How was the broadcast?
Oh, you sounded amazing. The way you
Not me.
with the passion that you deliver and the way you tell your stories. I love it. Let's go to the points. I'm tired of talking about
Let's talk about points. Yeah, let's not talk about me. Let's take a look at the points after 11 races.
That 2 car is still up here. Look at Tony Stewart, car owner.
Well, and look at Carl Edwards down in. So we talked last week, Chad. You had to think you were precariously in that 6th position. Yep. You had to think after qualifying. And when that race started, like, wow.
That's why I told Jimmy, I said, buddy, we have got to finish this race. If we don't, we could be outside the top 12.
And Greg, 9th in points. Well, right after this, lots of incidents and some great racing Saturday night. We're going to break it all down. Jimmy Johnson, by the way, got ticked off at one particular driver. We'll let you listen in during Radio Active in just a bit. The first All-Star race at night created some real fireworks. We'll talk about that a little bit later on.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Brought to you in part by AutoZone, because do-it-yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And by Z-Max, performance you can feel.
Great studio audience here. All-Star Week coverage kicks off here on Speed. And time for Michael, Greg, and Chad to talk about the highlights of the Southern 500. I love the fact that title name was back. We had red and white walls. Action early. Max Pappas goes around. That was lap 5, the first of 17 cautions.
That should have told you that it was going to be an eventful night. We didn't get very far and started wrecking.
We actually got further than we did last year, though. Last year we got crashed on lap 2. Oh, look at that. Little pit strategy there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to do any pit strategy until late.
Oh,
Casey Mears hard into the wall. That was lap 31. AJ
Allmendinger. 12 was lucky he didn't get drilled there.
That was the second time he made it through.
On board from David Reagan's car. Oops.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Wow. You know what? It's a good thing he hit Denny Hamlin. He knocked him right by AJ Allmendinger. Denny could have never made that move without getting hit in the back. Did you see that?
He got turned downhill and just missed it.
He could have never done that on his own.
We had 17 cautions, and it easily could have been 20 or 21 if they wanted to throw it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Michael's like, good. Okay, let's go. It's time now for the sprint monster moment, which Michael loves.
Yeah, that's just good video right there. And watch this. Jimmy Johnson didn't love this. He's on pit road when my engine expires.
Just say expired. This is dramatic.
My friend is Ron Capps, and he races a funny car, and I called him today and said, hey, man.
How'd I do?
You don't have anything on me. Watch this. So my goal, seriously, I just wanted to keep going straight, and I was missing that goal a little bit, but then the wall saved me, got me going back in the right direction, and if you keep going that way, the fire pretty much has to stay behind you.
Yeah, do you know what happened?
I hit the wall.
No, I mean, why blow?
Oh, it just broke a rod. It broke a rod major, and it was so funny, or wasn't funny. It was so interesting because it didn't make no noise. It kept sound like it quit running. Basically, it quit making like loud noise and just started going, oh, and went, oh.
That was it. Did he let up on the gas?
Well, I did eventually.
When it quit running, he's pumping the pedal trying to get it to go.
That's why it was on fire. You had to let up on the gas.
That's what you said. Help me, Tom Cruise. Help me, Oprah.
Actually, help me, that other guy. Who's that other guy he says? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
That's awesome. Actually, I let off because it was time to.
The corner's coming.
The corner was there, so I didn't have any choice.
Later in the race, Greg, this is what I want to ask you because this was still early when we saw that. Guys started doing 2 tires, then 2 tires again, then 4 tires. Did you have a game plan as how you were going to do that or when you were going to do it?
Yeah, absolutely we did. We felt like the last time Erwin wanted to do 2 again. And I said, I don't know that this is the right time. We only have 1 stop left, maybe 2. And so we should probably do 2 tires both stops. And so we decided to do 4 that time and didn't really lose any track position. We lost a little bit, but we felt like we could do two tires from there on out, and then I spun out, so that kind of all went out the window.
You know, the history of Darlington.
I got 4.
The history of the Darlington is pretty simple for a crew chief. 4 tires. You put
typically.
Them on. And Saturday night was interesting because you had to erase your database. You had to think, okay, forget all that. I might need 2 here. Let's get 2. Let's get 2. Let's stay out. And that's what eventually happened to the guys that ran first and second. They stayed out, and made it a tough night's work for you guys.
It made it a lot easier for us when we stayed out on lap 20 and saw how fast the car was to know that, hey, you can be out here on old tires and you can run pretty good. So we were kind of setting it up for that the whole day.
Let's move ahead now. I tell you who had a good run, Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car. There he is, passing Casey Kane for the lead. Now, David Reagan is going to run into the back of the 48.
Watch out.
And then he gets run over. I think Juan Montoya was right behind Reagan. And, that no fault of Juan's, when you go into that first turn, if everybody doesn't proceed along like you think they're going to, you're going to run into them. Oof. And then it just got worse.
This was after he crashed and repaired the car.
It got worse for David after that. The UPS car, it was bad. It really got hurt.
There's nowhere to get out of the way either. It's so narrow. There's nowhere to get out of the way.
It's so narrow and so fast, like Michael talked about. You're going down in that corner into turn 1. You can't even stop because you push on the brakes and you're trying to turn left. The car just goes up against the fence, and if they're wrecking in front of you, you're going to hit them.
Well, the cars are compressed too, so as they lift and get on the brakes, the splitter will touch the track, and that makes them get tighter too, so they can't control them at all.
Yeah. Bumps next.
Coming up next, just as soon as the flag man put the caution flag down, he had to pick it back up again. A very popular win for a 50-year-old. We've got all the details also of the burnout contest. One of our panelists is a defending champ. And last year, Casey Kane became the first driver to win from the fan vote. A look back.
The Monster Moment has been brought to you by Sprint. For more Sprint Cup Series, go to sprint.com/speed.
Join John Roberts, Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace, and the whole gang Saturday night for NASCAR Race Day. They'll get you ready for the big all-star race. Also, the burnout contest will take place during race day, which includes our very own Greg Biffle. Catch it all Saturday night starting at 4 Eastern, only on Speed. Great audience here in our Charlotte, North Carolina studios, and we kick off our all-star coverage. Yes, Michael?
That's funny because you hear all these nice claps, but nobody looks like they really care. They're just going.
Are you saying they're clapping because they're told to?
I think I'm beginning to feel some sort of pattern. Every time we come back, I hear a.
Like a golf clap?
The reason why they're not looking at the camera, they're looking at the monitor.
Can I get a woo-hoo out of y'all? Or say, woo! Let's bring it back when we come back.
That's it. All right. What are we doing? Highlights. It's time now for the Castrol Edge smart move of the race. Watch all these guys miss a spinning Kurt Busch.
And guys, the reason why that's so impressive, they can't see. You can't see through that smoke. How did they do that?
I don't know.
That's good insight.
This is a big hit.
They don't call him the best color man in the business for nothing.
He can break her down. A.J. Allmendinger into Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer hits very hard.
And walked away. Just no problems. Got out, hopped out.
Golly, a lot of people. He went back and forth 3 times.
Yeah, he got 3 wrecks out of 1.
A bonus. Michael looks all excited, like he's getting ready to talk, and I'm like,
And he doesn't say anything.
no!
And then in my ear, Jeff's saying, don't say a word. Don't say anything.
Let's go on to the next highlight.
Don't you say
I think
anything.
that other person in his head is talking.
Yeah, the
It's
HOV
not
lane.
Jeff. Jeff hasn't said anything.
Lap 273, Kyle Busch cuts a tire, and he also hits the wall hard.
Anytime you cut one going down in the corner, it's going to hit
What
hard.
happened here, Greg?
I'm not really
Yeah, Greg.
sure. I was underneath the 99, and it looks like in the video that I might have got into him a little bit, but I honestly don't think that we touched. And you know, it's really hard. We were right tight together coming around there. He was coming down, I was coming up to make the corner exit, and you know.
That video's inconclusive.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though. You guys always have a debrief on Tuesday at Roush Fenway, right?
Yeah, we do. Well, we have a team meeting on 11 o'clock on Mondays, and then Jack called all the drivers and crew chiefs later in the week, I think, to have a discussion. I'm sure it's probably revolving around that.
Did you tell him you were sorry?
Yeah, I talked to Carl.
Then you think you did it?
Carl
Because if you
said
didn't
that,
think you did it, you wouldn't have to say you were sorry.
Yeah.
No, he could be sorry it happened.
Yeah.
Even if
Oh,
he
you just
didn't-
said you were sorry he crashed.
Yeah.
Sorry you crashed.
Sorry
dude.
you wrecked. No, I mean, it's obviously my fault. You know, I mean, I was inside of him there, and I was inside of him, you know, most of the way across that corner. But, you know, it's hard. We're all racing for position.
You want to know how race car drivers apologize? Man, I'm sorry I got into you. Did you cut down on me? You're like,
You know, he said something right there that I really noticed more than any racetrack that we've been to this year by far, is that you had to battle for every single position. Darlington typically, if you watch the old footage, if you got inside of somebody going into turn 1, the person on the outside would give you a courteous lift. He would roll out, fall in behind you because you gained that position on him. There was none of that going on.
And Chad, I just see it every week.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the All-Star race. Are you going to take more chances? What are you going to do in the All-Star race? You're going to wreck every lap, every race. That's how important every lap is. And then people are treating it like that.
A caution comes out now for debris on lap 319 as we close in finally on the end of the Southern 500. It's time now for the Geico Greatest Pit Crew, and it's got to go to the 5 team. Many of the front runners come into pit. Alan Gustafson has Mark Martin stay out, and he gets the lead. The 48, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, the 39, a few others also stay out.
You know what I love about Mark Martin? Everybody thinks you got to run right next to the wall. You got to get out there and make time. He committed to the bottom, which we see him do a lot. But not only did he commit to the bottom, he made the bottom work.
Well, wanted to ask you quickly, with about 8 laps to go, you said, Jimmy, I was listening, you said you got about 3 laps to make your move, then I want you to back off.
Yeah.
What was that, big picture?
Yeah, we had to be wise about it. You know, we had gotten to the point where we were almost inside of him a couple of times and almost outside of him once or twice, and he just couldn't commit and couldn't get the position on Mark. So I was like, look, dude, you know, we're pushing it on fuel, so why don't you just go ahead and give it a couple more laps and back off if you don't think you get him. He says, I got bad news for you. This is all I got. And I said, all right, we'll just start rolling back.
That's when you put on the championship pants and walk down that path.
You know, I got a confession to make, though, because some people know this, and I mean, the people that listen to it on the scanners and whatnot. We were gonna pit that last run right there where we stayed out right behind Mark and everybody else pitted, and we're coming down and I'm debating. I'm like, okay, I know we can make it on fuel, but if there's a green white checker, we won't be able to make it. So I said, all right, pit, and he goes, I passed the commitment line. You waited too long. And I was like, great, stay out.
I bet stay out there.
We're going to be great.
So you could have just said, I made a great call there.
Yeah, but too many people knew the truth.
It's not in the scanner feature, I don't think.
Oh, see, I could have saved it.
Well, after this, hear Mark Martin talking about dropping the hammer, all the best scanner and radioactive. Now, it wasn't really a pass in the grass, but what are we going to call it?
He kept it leading through the grass move. Best all-star moments coming up.
The smart move of the race has been presented by Castrol Edge. Think with your dipstick. Upgrade to new Castrol Edge Advanced Synthetic. Nothing offers better wearing protection. The Greatest Pit Crew has been presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. We appreciate the crowd here in Charlotte. Hey, you want to win the Mark Martin picture? Mark and the 5 team scored a big win in the Southern 500. To enter the Picture of the Week giveaway, go to speedtv.com. Click the show's tab at the top, go to the This Week in NASCAR page, and you'll see a link at the bottom of the page to email us. Put Martin in the subject line, and you'll be entered to win. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. The winner will be revealed next week. The Kyle Busch picture from last week on its way to South Dakota.
Looks like a stand-up.
That's exactly what I was thinking, doesn't it?
What were you thinking?
It looks like a stand-up
Of Mark.
Oh, like not the real
Yeah,
Mark.
like in the grocery store.
Selling Cheez-Its.
Like Cheez-Its right here, guys.
Oh, I forgot what we were doing here for a second. But anyways, one of the funny things I heard on pit road during the race Saturday night, Brad Keselowski, 25 years old, did a great job with the pressure. He said, guys, I'm just going to ride here on pit road. I'm just going to race the track. And when I pit around halfway, I need a sandwich. Here is Radioactive.
Radio, check 1, 2. 10-4, got you. Check 1, 2. I got you there. You got me okay? Got a copy. 10-4.
She's mean and she's fast and she's too tough to tame. The Southern 500 is underway. Michael Waltrip up in flames and into the outside wall. A shower of flames from behind the Napa Toyota.
Whoa, guys. Major issues. We have detonated big time. I got a vibration that keeps getting worse. We're going to have to come in at the front tire, I believe.
Well, come in. We'll get the lucky dogs. Come in right now. 4 tires.
Jeff Gordon on pit road. Looks like he may have a cut down tire.
Dig. Keep digging.
I think the right front wheel was loose, but he said he's got to get this time. Looks like it was loose. Good call.
Trouble turn 2. A car goes around and spins down the bottom of the apron. It is David Reagan.
Got to use your head out there, David. I seen what you're trying to do with that 48 car. Yeah, I didn't run in there on purpose. I guess he just checked up a little bit. I ran on in there about my normal speed, but I'll put that in my memory bank. I'm going to beat the limit. Got him. We're okay, bud. For 20 laps, it's right wrecking us. Good for him. Everybody needs to take a deep breath. Everybody, just calm down.
Carl Edwards gets bumped by Greg Biffle. He hits the outside wall as the field streams by.
I think I touched him. Yes, initially I'd say it looked clean, Biffle. I think it was just the air of me being beside him. Got him sideways. Air does funny stuff. That's nice of my teammate to wreck me. What exactly happened there, Jason? He said he didn't touch you. It looked like he got into you a little bit just below you. Yeah, pretty sure he hit me in the middle of the corner there. I'm going to have to run hard from here on, guys. I saved you some fuel that time, I thought. You know, a little bit, but we're going to have to let the hammer down. This is your white. One more nice and smooth. No pressure, no pressure.
Mark Martin wins.
16. Good job. Awesome job, Alan. Guys down there, Mark. Way to drive that thing.
Well, Michael says it all the time. If you're going to scan these guys, you're going to hear some serious excitement. And we had some excitement going on Saturday night. And it wasn't just for us. It was everybody on the racetrack, as you guys could tell. There were drivers out there. We were just talking about a little while ago. It was so hot, and guys were so exhausted. And when you get to that point, tempers just start to flare. If you had your scanner on, you better have had your earmuffs on, because there were some explicitives rolling.
Earmuffs. One thing about Darlington, it's hot for sure, but the intensity of the workout that the drivers go through is higher than anywhere else. You know, we hear Scott Speed saying driving a Cup car is nothing like driving a Formula One car. There's no G-force. At Darlington, the G-force is there and it's constant. So not only is it hot, your heart rate is constantly up because you're working your rear end off. And that's why you see guys get out of their car and think, what town am I in?
And that's why you are now Michael One-Pack Waltrip.
That's right. And now I have 1 pack.
Not a 6-pack.
In my abular area.
He's so proud about his 1-pack.
I'll show it if you want.
No,
No, I will. I'm not kidding.
No, I know you will.
Especially because we're having a studio audience.
He's so proud of his workout routine. Well, pole sitter Kyle Busch was dominant again in the nationwide race at Darlington, but he ran into trouble with 3 laps remaining.
Oh, we got a crash. No, Joe Nemechek into the inside wall.
And guys, that right rear tire is down on Kyle Busch.
Just a tough break for Kyle. Had a dominant night going. Kansas bring him down extremely slow. See him trying to stack up behind. Got a car on the wall. Morgan Shepherd.
Behind you. Yellow's out.
Yellow's out. Race is over.
That is
big
Morgan
break for Matt Kenseth.
Catch the Camping World Truck Series race from Charlotte with Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip, Friday night, 7:30 Eastern. The trucks always put on a great show at Lowe's Motor Speedway. When we come back, Casey Kane didn't dominate last year's event. Some misfortune by other drivers gave the opportunity to the 9 car. A look back. And who is eligible for the All-Star event? We'll give you all the details. Stick around. You're watching Twin. This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. Studio audience here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Glad to be involved in All-Star Week. Don't miss the Sprint All-Star race Saturday night at 7 right here on Speed. See the best drivers in NASCAR battle in a no-holds-barred dash for cash. Fireworks will fly all night long. The exciting 10-lap final segment is back this year. You don't want to miss it. Saturday night, 7 here on Speed. Well, last year, Casey Kane won the race, and it was a dramatic way to win an All-Star event. Let's look back.
And this is what we've been waiting for. It's all out. $1 million dangling in front of these drivers. We're going to see hammer down, full throttle racing, no holds barred, white knuckle action. It's going to be a great recipe for a great race here tonight.
Dale Jarrett, his final race. Casey Kane said he would rather race his way in, but the fans were able to give him a second chance.
Green flag. Clear. Getting into the corner, it feels like I got a right front bounce, like it's not wanting to sit down on a bump stop right or something.
Kyle Busch, boy, he is long gone already.
Just a hair too loose, or just a tiny bit. I'd rather try it with a little wedge and a little air pressure right now. I want to keep you up front, you know what I'm saying? Got 10-4, sorry about that. Shoot a gun when you get here. He's still running the bottom. You can hold him off. Motor's going, dude. Drop the cylinder, did the same thing. Rocker arm's done. Just keep digging right there, bud. Looks like he's down a cylinder, maybe. All right, to be you and that 99. The 18 blew up there. Much better on the builds. Much better race car, no doubt.
Ford and Chevy side by side for the lead, and it's going to be Greg Biffle on the inside coming away with it.
Casey Kane waiting to see which lane opens up.
Here's Denny Hamlin going forward and going to the bottom and going to the lead.
We're done. We're blown up. We're done. Take it to the garage. Great job, man. You gave me a fighting chance, and they were going to have to knock me out to do it.
We have a new leader. Casey Kane went out front, getting by Denny Hamlin. Greg Biffle is challenging him. If he goes on to win, it'll be the first time that a fan vote winner has won the All-Star race.
Here he comes, down to the inside of turn 3. Lets it slide to the middle of the racetrack. $1 million payday awaits Casey Kane.
What an exciting race that was. I can remember that like it was yesterday, just the blood flowing, the Casey Kane and I racing for that $1 million, but came up a little bit short, and I came up a little short in the 600 to the same guy. But hopefully this year we'll be right there.
You know what's bad about the All-Star race? As good as you guys were, nobody remembers you were second.
Yeah, it's $1 million to win, and I mean that's all that matters, and that's what makes this race so much fun and so much excitement. You saw all the different lead changes, the engine trouble, all that. I mean, it's just all out.
Let's take a look at who's eligible for the 2009 NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. All winning drivers in the last calendar year eligible, plus Sprint Cup champions and All-Star Race champions from the last 10 years. Also, the top 2 showdown finishers and a fan vote winner will advance to the All-Star Race. And guys, I want to ask you about the format. This year, 4 segments, 50 laps, 20 laps, 20 laps, and then a 10-lap final shootout.
There's a lot of positioning for that final 10. You get a break, I think, between the second 20 and the last 10, which means you better have your car in a position to win the race. You got 10 laps to get it done. I started on the outside of row 2 for the 10-lap shootout in '96 when I won. I was able to win the race from the 4th spot. I don't know that you're going to be able to win it from much behind that.
It would be tough. It'd be real tough. And there's even in that first 50-lap segment, there's a green flag pit stop that everybody has to participate in on lap 25. So it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing unfolds.
Let's take a look at the drivers who are eligible for the All-Star race. Michael, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Brad Keselowski gets in by winning at Talladega. And Chad, that is definitely an all-star lineup.
And there's some heat right there, buddy. I'm telling you, I mean, that is going to be an exciting race. And I can promise you, whoever makes it in through the showdown, the shootout down there, they're going to be just as good as the rest of them. And I think it actually helped the 9 car a little bit running the showdown, or actually running in that race and getting in through the fan vote, because they had the on-track experience to make them just a little bit better.
Just think about it. They weren't even good enough to win the showdown.
Yeah.
And then they win the All-Star race. That tells you what it takes to be in this race and how good when that green flag falls for that first 50-lapper Saturday night, any one of those cars can win the race. And that as a fan, I want to see that. I know you can pick any one of them, and any one of them got a chance to win.
Greg, we look at the All-Star lineup. That's also an all-star quality racetrack. What is so challenging about that 1.5 mile Lowe's Motor Speedway?
Well, I mean, it's not easier now that it's all repaved, but it's much smoother, and you can run, side by side, and that upper groove has a lot of speed in it. And that's what a driver wants. He wants options.
That's what Casey
run
Kane,
the bottom, run the top.
Yeah. Casey Kane won it, running around the top.
Yeah.
And you could also see it one down at the bottom. So, like Greg said, options. You can run right on that white line, or you can run next to the wall. And that's why this race is so fun, and that's why it belongs at Charlotte. This track is perfect for an event like you're going to see Saturday night.
And to add to the complexity, a new tire.
Yeah, and we were fortunate enough to be able to take part in the tire test that Goodyear had there. And it was us, the 9 car, I think the 47 was there, and I think one other car. I don't remember exactly who that was, but they've come with a different tire, a different compound, and a different ply steer in the tire. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. But we were pretty happy with the car. I know that the 9 car was pretty happy with the tires. So I'm hoping all that works out and everybody likes it, so we can get even better racing. Because the old tire, you had to be pretty loose at the beginning of a run just to make sure you didn't get too tight at the end of the run. So I'm hoping this brings it together just a little bit for everybody.
Huge week here on Speed leading up to the All-Star race. Coming up next is Making the Race. Then at 10 tonight is a 25th All-Star reunion. Here past participants relive their All-Star moments and tell some great stories about the event. On Tuesday and Wednesday, All-Star programming starts with Countdown to All-Star at 8 p.m. each night. Great shows here on Speed this week to get you ready for Saturday night. Well, up next, a fight after the All-Star race. Do you remember what 2 teams had a disagreement after controversy? We've got the answer. Plus, the pit crews are in the spotlight as well this week. We've got all the details this week in NASCAR. We'll be right back. Michael, take a look at the weather. Just a 30% chance on Saturday night.
Just come, bring a little sunscreen, and be ready for some action.
Did you know we're only 1/100th of an inch ahead of where we should be rain-wise here in Charlotte?
Do you know how bad when they talk about averages, it gets on my nerves?
I do.
They haven't kept records long enough. The Earth's been here for 5,000 years, thereabout.
5,000?
I don't know.
Just a number I picked out of
It's an arbitrary number.
I know Jesus walked around like 2,000 years ago.
Well, you're close on that.
It must have been before that. But they can't keep records and say we're 1/100th of an inch below average.
I told you it got on his nerves. Well, the All-Star race started in 1985, and there have been some spectacular moments. We narrowed it down to 5 of the most exciting moments from 5,000 years ago.
There are very few for which there is a feeling of intensity before the start of the race that is different from all the rest. And the All-Star race is one of those.
There's no points. It's a shootout, it's a showdown. The strategy here is all out. It's a race, where your crew chief tells the driver, bring the steering wheel back or $1 million.
Gad is on the bottom of the racetrack. It will be a drag race.
He was trying to protect the bottom, and I just sailed around on the outside, took the lead, came across the start-finish line.
Darrell Waltrip, a hand in the air, a wave to the crowd.
I got my hand out the window, and I'm just waving at the fans. About that time, Balooey! I mean, the thing blew to smithereens.
What a Hollywood ending.
All-Star race, there was a lot of energy and excitement, obviously, in the races themselves, and there was a lot of drama.
And Earnhardt loses it, goes on the grass, comes back, and Elliott goes inside. And Earnhardt still got the lead. Incredible.
Well, that was something else. Bill spun that 95 car out and caused a big mess, and then he come up there and tried to spin me out twice. I didn't take it.
Darrell Waltrip in the 4th corner now. Wallace comes down low again. He puts the tire. Waltrip loses it as they touch. Waltrip spins it backwards across the grass as they come to the white flag.
Race as hard as you can. You don't worry about points. You don't worry about anything other than
trying to win the race.
Kyle Petty coming to the checkered flag. Here comes Davey Allison to the bottom. It'll be the finish everybody was waiting for. They crashed past the finish line. They have crashed into turn number 1. And Davey Allison is in a shower of sparks.
In 96, there were going to be 5 spots out of the open that transferred to the Winston.
And advancing from the Winston Select Open, Michael Waltrip wins.
I'm telling you what, if your hair doesn't stand up in the back of your neck, you don't have any hair on the back of your neck. It's a special feeling. It really is.
Just look at the history of this race. My brother, he didn't know his motor was going to blow up, or he wouldn't have had his hand out the window when he went into turn 1. It blows all to pieces. Dale Earnhardt explaining why that he didn't take that off Bill Elliott. That is priceless, listening to Dale in the heat of the moment tell what happened. And then hearing the emotion and seeing the results. You don't know what's going to happen in the All-Star race, and I can't wait till Saturday night to find out.
Greg, what I liked in that little montage, which it's hard to boil down just 5 or 6 moments, when Rusty got up behind DW never lifted. He just stayed in the gas right through turn 4.
Yeah, it's it can be pretty hairy out there when people are, no points and they don't care about finishing and all you want to do is win.
You said that was that a montage?
It was a montage of moments.
Montage trois? What? I don't know what montage means.
You're gonna get me in trouble. The Pennzoil Victory Challenge is part of our All-Star coverage, and Greg Biffle is the defending champion of that event, and you'll see that as part of NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Coverage begins at 4 o'clock. What's the strategy, dude? You're the defending champion.
Well, last year, I'm the defending champion because they set some rules, and I was the only one that followed the rules. So I think I won by default. But this year, they've changed it up, and it's going to be a 30-second freestyle event with judges and all that. And I think I'm going to give Dave Despain a little lesson on
Wind Tunnel Special Edition Thursday night.
Wind Tunnel, so
ODW is going to line up with these guys too. 3-time champ.
There you go.
Get on it.
Did Darrell ever do it? I don't remember him ever doing a burnout.
No, and I tell you, I want to reflect back. I love watching Martin take the checker flag going around the track. That's awesome. He didn't do a burnout. He just said, here you go, fans. This one's for y'all right around. I think it's cool to see both.
It goes both ways, yeah.
Yeah. You do?
No, you did. You're the one talking about the montage.
I'm sorry, what now? Go ahead.
We'll catch a special edition of Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain on Thursday night. There will be montages there. Greg Biffle will show Dave Despain how to do a burnout. That's Wind Tunnel Special Edition Thursday night at 8. Guys, one of the great events that's developed over the years, the NBA has the slam dunk contest. Yeah. Major League Baseball has a home run derby. We have the Pit Crew Challenge.
And I think it's awesome to be able to get these guys out there and to showcase their talents. These guys work year-round to try to perfect their position and and work as a cohesive team. And to see these guys go out there in the individual drill to try to win that title and the team title, is just awesome. It's energetic, it's cool, and they work very, very hard at it.
If you enjoy watching basketball players do the slam dunk and baseball players, you got to go watch these crew guys. They're as well trained of an athlete and as much athleticism in those guys as there are in those basketball players in football. It's amazing that these guys can make a pit stop, change 4 tires in 12 seconds, less than 12 seconds at times. It's incredible, and you get to get an up-close view of it at the Pit Crew competition.
Well, Chad, anymore, these guys are all ex-college athletes anymore. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot.
A lot of them. A lot of the teams have actually started to do college combines to where they go to the colleges, they talk to the teams, they talk to the head coaches and say, hey, what kind of guy do you think would fit with our organization? We're looking for a guy that's, maybe like a shortstop, somebody that's quick on his feet, maybe a wrestler, somebody that's quick from changing tires. So there's a lot of professionalism coming into this now.
And it's fun to see little guys changing tires and bigger guys. It's like a basketball team. You got all different shapes, size guys doing the same job.
Well, watch the Pit Crew guys do what they do best on the big stage Thursday night in the Sprint Pit Crew Challenge. Individual competitions for tire changers, jackmen, gasmen, and a team competition will also take place. That's Thursday night, 9 only on Speed. When we return on This Week in NASCAR, we'll have viewer emails. What kinds of things can the driver change on the car from inside the cockpit? That answer is next. Stick around. The This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. The fans already here in Charlotte getting fired up for All-Star Week. Well, speaking of, we have 4 special All-Star shows debuting Tuesday night called My All-Star Win. Each of the 4 episodes will focus on a particular driver's All-Star win. Those drivers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Casey Kane, Darrell Waltrip, and Michael Waltrip. Here's a sneak preview.
My All-Star win is special to me because it was all about family.
Here we go, the final 10-lap shootout for $200,000 in bragging rights.
Earnhardt's hooked up down to the inside lane. Terry Labonte still handling well. They make contact. Michael Waltrip's in the lead.
He started last. He qualified through the heat race, and now Michael Waltrip wins the All-Star race for the Wood Brothers.
The Wood Brothers family returning to victory lane at Charlotte. The Waltrip family getting to celebrate in victory lane. And on that night, 2 families came together. We had a heck of a party.
All 4 episodes of My All-Star Win on Tuesday night from 9 to 11 here on Speed. So we said Darrell Waltrip, Michael, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Casey Kane. That's Tuesday, starting at 9 Eastern here on Speed. Time now for the Z-Max Fuel for Thought email segment. Mr. Biffle is going to handle this one. I know one of the few things that a driver can change while in the cockpit is brakes. What are some of the other things that a driver can change himself? That comes from Joy.
Well, they got it all. That's about it. All we can change is the brake bias from front to rear. Now, trust me, we wish we could change a lot more than that from inside the cockpit, but it's a good thing we can't.
Yeah, Chad's happy you can't change it more than that.
Right, we can change the from ignition box A to B and distributor A to B. So we can change that. And then we run 2 batteries in our cars, so we can change from battery 1 to 2 if the alternator quits working.
When I won the All-Star race, Eddie Wood came up to me right before the showdown started. I was starting 5th in it, and I had to finish 5th. He said, when we get to the end of the night, box B has like 2 more degrees of timing, but save it. We don't need to be blowing our motor up. He walked off. I switched it to B.
Before you ever started.
I got to go right now.
I want it, and I want it now. All right, here's a reminder about our picture of the week. If you want the Mark Martin picture from winning the Southern 500, go to speedtv.com, click the show's tab at the top, go to the This Week in NASCAR page, and you'll see a link. Put Martin in the subject line. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. The winner will be revealed next week.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Brought to you in part by Priceline, where you can find half-price hotels every day. And by the new 2010 Ford Fusion. Get in and drive one.
Back in 2000, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a rookie, but leading up to the All-Star race, he had already won at Richmond in Texas. A rookie had never won the All-Star race, but somebody forgot to tell Dale Jr.
I know we had a pretty big couple wins there, and we're riding a pretty high cloud coming into the Winston.
Let's see if Junior can catch Jerry Nadeau. Boy, he closes in on him in a hurry. Right up on the rear deck here between turns 1 and 2. Off the corner, Dale Jr. goes to the outside of Nadeau.
We decided that, well, race pays so much to win. If you're running second even and you don't think you got what you need, pit, come in and make a change, and we did, and that was the way to go.
So $500,000 at stake in turn number 3. Dale Jarrett digs in down at the bottom of the banking. Left side tires on the white stripe, but he can't hold off Junior, who makes the pass.
The fans are going absolutely crazy. Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes to the checkered flag and wins the 2000 running of the Winston.
It's my favorite victory because of a couple instances. The fact that my dad was there and he was able to spin. He spent the entire victory lane celebration with us. Just the way we did it was really spectacular.
This 25th anniversary All-Star Memory Minute was brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation. Click it or ticket.
Well, that was a great moment. But you know what, guys? We've been talking about the competitors and the All-Star race, but you know what this event is for? The people sitting right here in the studio and all the people watching at home. It is a fans race.
Yeah, and just think about it. A rookie had never won before. Dale Jr. wins. The fan vote guy never won before. The fan vote guy wins. I never won before. I won. So anything can happen Saturday night.
Can we clap? We want to clap too for the fans.